Welcome back, everyone, to Bookish Dives.
Great to be back.
Yeah. So we've spent the last couple of deep dives exploring some really fascinating books, haven't we? History, productivity.
We have. But today, we're tackling something a bit different, something that probably hits closer to home for a lot of us daily.
Definitely. We're diving into money, specifically the anxiety around it, why it feels so hard.
And we've got a guide for this one. It's not just your standard make-a-budget book. It aims to, fundamentally reset how you think about spending.
Right. We're talking about Emma Edwards' recent book, Good with Money, Reprogram Your Spending Habits and Take Control of Your Money, published just this year, 2024. And I have to say, I found it super relatable right from the start. She kicks off by calling herself a former financial hot mess. You know, that feeling of leaving the house and somehow $100 just vanishes.
Oh, absolutely been there.
So the goal here isn't just like saving tips. It's about getting rid of that financial shame, that confusion, by looking at the why. The behavioral science behind why being good with money feels almost impossible sometimes.
That's the key shift, isn't it? The book argues, look, forget just the spreadsheets for a second. If you ignore the engine, your habits, your emotions, you're missing the point.
Exactly.
It promises to help you move past the guilt, understand those deep psychological triggers for spending, and actually get in the driver's seat.
Okay, so let's get into it. Part one, the book looks at the external world. And Edwards makes this really compelling case that basically the world is rigged against us when it comes to spending mindfully.
Yeah, and the connection she draws first is pretty provocative. She links diet culture to our spending habit.
Which sounds weird at first, but when she explains it...
It makes total sense. She points to the massive wellness economy. What was it? Valued at nearly $1 trillion back in 2020. And says, look, both wellness and the general consumption economy kind of thrive on the same tactic. Convince you something's wrong with you. You're not thin enough, you're not rich enough, you're not well enough.
And then they sell you the fix, often an expensive temporary fix.
Right. And it diverts your attention from, actual long-term security. Things like building wealth, retirement, compound interest, things that aren't as immediately gratifying, maybe.
And she really zeroes in on how this affects women specifically. The historical pressure, shifting goalposts on the whole feminine ideal.
It's so important to remember how recent financial independence for women actually is. I mean, 1975 in the UK, before a woman could even open her own bank account.
It's staggering.
In Australia, needing a male guarantor for a loan until 1971. So society grants this legal freedom, but then the cultural conditioning just rushes right in. Make sure any money earned goes straight back into, appearance.
Maintenance.
Yeah, the author shares this story from her own career. Being judged for not looking, 5-star enough or polished enough.
And she realized that just maintaining that expected professional look was a huge, often hidden financial drain.
It's this constant pressure for purchase fixes. And it keeps people, especially women, financially vulnerable because the focus is always on the next purchase, not the bigger picture.
Okay, so that's the societal conditioning. Then there's the media we grew up with. Essentially a, consumption fantasy playground.
Oh, absolutely. Sex and the City comes to mind immediately.
The classic example.
Yeah. I mean, this fantasy life where a writer affords this huge Manhattan apartment, closets bursting with designer stuff.
And then Carrie has that moment, right? Realizing she spent over $40,000 on shoes.
$40,000. It's played for laughs, but it's also kind of terrifying financially.
Yeah.
Especially for someone supposedly struggling with bills.
Totally. It just created this completely warped idea of what a normal salary could actually buy. Leads straight to financial avoidance because reality feels so disappointing.
And alongside that, the actual act of buying just got faster and faster. Think about it. 1994, the first real e-commerce sale was apparently a CD for $12.
Wow. A CD.
Now, it's instant. Tap, swipe, done. Your rational brain barely has time to blink, let alone object.
And that speed is where things like buy now, pay later, BNPL come in. The book calls them psychological weapons.
That's a strong term, but yeah. BNPL is brilliant at exploiting cognitive bias, specifically anchoring bias.
Okay, explain anchoring bias again.
So you see a $100 item, right? But it's advertised as just 4 payments of $25. Your brain doesn't fixate on the $100 total. It anchors to the $25. That feels much smaller, much more manageable.
Ah, okay. So it feels less painful to spend the money, even though it's the same amount eventually.
Exactly. And retailers, they love it. The data shows it boosts sales. People spend more on average because it bypasses that rational check. Does $25 feel okay? Yeah, sure. Click.
Sneaky. And then you layer social media on top of all that, which introduces something called relative deprivation.
Right. Relative deprivation. That feeling you get when you see what everyone else seems to have, and suddenly you feel like you're lacking something.
But online, everyone else isn't just our neighbors anymore.
No.
Yeah.
It's millions of people showing off curated, perfect lives online. Suddenly you feel deprived because you don't have the latest gadget. The Dyson Airwrap was a huge one, remember?
Oh, yeah. The pressure was intense.
Just because your feed makes it seem like everyone has one?
And the tech makes sure you keep seeing it. That Facebook Pixel, since around 2015, the targeted ads are just relentless.
They literally follow you around the internet. And they use other biases, too, like confirmation bias, showing you ads for things you've already clicked on, reinforcing that little voice saying, you need this.
Feels like they're reading your mind sometimes.
It's incredibly sophisticated tracking. And it's why even positive ideas get, well, commercialized, turned into reasons to spend.
You mean like minimalism and self-care?
Exactly those. Minimalism should be about less, right?
Right.
But somehow it becomes an excuse to buy new, expensive, minimalist-looking things, like a ridiculously priced buccal armchair because it fits the aesthetic.
Right. Declutter by buying more stuff. Makes sense.
Or self-care. It started as this important concept, about community well-being, especially in activist circles. Now, it's bubble baths and $100 yoga pants.
Retail therapy, basically.
Disguised as wellness, yeah. It's not about rest or connection anymore. It's about buying something to feel better for 5 minutes.
Okay, so that's the external onslaught. It's pretty bleak. But the book argues the internal battle is just as tough. Our own brains aren't really wired for this.
That's the fundamental challenge. Biologically, we're built for immediate rewards, not long-term saving. When strong emotions hit stress, boredom, sadness, even excitement, the primal part of our brain, the amygdala.
The emotional center.
Yeah, it can basically hijack the system. It shuts down the rational part, the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for planning, thinking ahead, resisting impulses.
So reaching for your credit card when you're stressed isn't a character flaw, it's biology.
It's a biological default, yeah.
Yeah.
And the book gives this emotional part a name, the inner creative director.
I like that, the inner creative director. What does it do?
It spins stories. It creates narratives after you've made an impulsive decision to make it feel rational, or at least understandable.
Okay, give me an example.
The takeaway food one is brilliant. There's poll data showing people are actually unhappy with their takeaway orders about half the time.
Half the time. Wow, logically you'd stop ordering.
Right. But the creative director doesn't focus on the soggy chips or the missing sauce. It focuses on the story of relief. Oh, I've had such a hard day. I deserve this treat. It'll make me feel better.
And the good feeling comes when you hit order, not necessarily when the food arrives.
Exactly. You bought the feeling of relief, the fantasy, the second you clicked. The actual food quality is almost irrelevant to that initial emotional transaction.
That makes so much sense. And this connects back to our early experiences, right? Our financial flashpoints.
Definitely. The author shares a really personal one. When her parents split up back in 2002, her mom bought her a babyless hair crimper.
A classic.
Classic indeed. But the point was, that act of spending, buying a thing, was used directly to soothe the emotional pain of the divorce.
So it creates this deep down belief. Spending, comfort. Spending fixes bad feelings.
Precisely. And those early beliefs become the foundation for what the book calls our inner villains, the financial saboteurs.
Okay, let's meet the villains. This sounds fun in a slightly terrifying way.
Yeah. Knowing them is key to disarming them. First up is Fix It Later Fran.
Ah, Fran. I think I know her. She's the queen of procrastination.
Totally. Oh, I'll sort out those bills next week. I'll consolidate that debt later. The time isn't quite right. Fran always pushes financial admin onto some mythical, more capable future you.
Who never seems to arrive. Okay, who's next?
Change your life, Charlie. This one is insidious. Charlie convinces you that you absolutely cannot start a new positive habit like exercising or eating healthy until you buy all the gear.
Oh my God, yes. You can't possibly go for a run in old trainers. You need the 150-pound shoes, the GPS watch, the special socks.
The matching outfit. Charlie fuels that feeling that preparation is action, but the action often never happens once the stuff is bought.
Guilty as charged. Okay, any others?
One more key one. What's the point, Wanda? Wanda is maybe the trickiest.
Why is that?
Because she uses real, legitimate, systemic problems. The cost of housing is insane. Wages aren't keeping up as justification for, well, reckless spending now.
The eat, drink, and be merry for tomorrow, we can't afford a mortgage anyway argument.
Basically, yeah. The system's broken, so why bother saving? Might as well enjoy this expensive night out, fancy gadget, whatever. It feels logical, but it keeps you stuck.
Okay, so the world's pushing us to spend, our brains are wired for it, and we've got these inner villains sabotaging us. It sounds hopeless. How do we actually fight back?
Right. That's part 3 and 4. It's about reclaiming control, moving from being passive reactors to active, intentional money managers.
How does that start?
It starts by creating space around the actual spending decision. Edwards introduces these 3 zones of spending. There's activation, that's the trigger, the temptation. Then decision, the moment of truth, buy or don't buy. And finally, reflection, usually where guilt or regret lives.
Okay.
The goal is to shrink that reflection zone and operate mostly in what she calls the empowerment zone.
The empowerment zone. I like the sound of that. What happens there?
That's where you genuinely own your choice. If you decide to buy something, it's intentional, it aligns with your values, and you feel good about it, no guilt. If you decide not to buy, you feel good about that too, because you resisted an impulse that wasn't truly serving you.
So it's about conscious choice, not reaction.
Exactly, which leads directly to values-based spending. This is crucial. You need to figure out what actually brings you high return on investment, not financial ROI, but life quality ROI.
Differentiating between spending that fills a temporary emotional gap versus spending that genuinely improves your life long term.
Precisely. She gives great personal examples, like buying a priority pass for airport lounges. Costs money, sure, but for her, it significantly reduces travel anxiety and buys comfort and control. That's high value.
Okay, yeah. Or she mentions paying for regular health scans to manage anxiety about health. Again, an expense, but it buys peace of mind.
These aren't impulsive conditional buys. They solve a real ongoing problem or meet a deep value, like security or peace. They're foundational.
Got it. So once you know your values, what's the practical system, the good with money ecosystem?
It's built on top-down money management, which is basically the opposite of how most people operate.
Opposite of spend first, see what's left.
Exactly. Top-down means your income hits a central pot, like a cloud. And before you assign any fund money, you strategically deploy funds. Essentials first, obviously, then savings goals, and crucially, sinking funds.
Sinking funds, that's setting aside money each month for big, predictable annual costs, right? Like car insurance, registration, Christmas.
Yes. So those big bills don't derail you when they land. Only after all that is sorted do you allocate your discretionary spending money, your allowance.
Okay, that makes sense. Structure first.
And to combat that payday splurge feeling, she introduces payday neutrality.
Payday neutrality, how does that work?
Instead of getting your whole allowance dumped into your account on payday, making you feel suddenly rich and triggering Fran or Charlie,
yeah.
you set up automatic transfers. Your total allowance for the pay cycle gets drip-fed into your spending account in smaller, regular amounts, maybe weekly or even daily.
So you always have roughly the same amount available. It smooths out the highs and lows, takes away the psychological trigger of a big lump sum.
Exactly. It neutralizes the payday effect. Very clever.
Okay, these are great systems, but habits are hard to break. How do you stick with it?
The book has strategies for that too. Building resilience. One I really liked is prove before you purchase.
Prove before you purchase.
Like the running example we talked about. You want fancy new running gear. Fine. But first, prove you'll actually run. Go out 5 times this week in your knackered old trainers and pajama bottoms if you have to.
Okay. Challenge the fantasy self.
Yes. Prove the commitment to your rational brain before you reward the inner creative director. Or change your life, Charlie, with a shiny new toy. It challenges the ego.
I can see how that would work. Builds discipline.
It does. And the long-term goal of all this isn't just budgeting better. It's building genuine financial resilience, having emergency savings, feeling in control. And the book connects this back to overall happiness using the PERMA model.
PERMA, that's positive emotion, engagement, relationships, meaning, and achievement, right? A framework for well-being.
Exactly. The argument is when you get good with money, it stops being just about chasing fleeting positive emotion through buying stuff. Instead, your money can start contributing to the deeper stuff, engagement in hobbies, stronger relationships through shared experiences, pursuing things with meaning, feeling a sense of achievement.
So money becomes a tool for a genuinely fulfilling life, not just a source of stress or temporary highs.
That's the transformation.
Yeah.
Moving from feeling overwhelmed and sabotaged to feeling aware, intentional, and in control. thanks to this clear ecosystem.
It really does sound like a complete blueprint. But you mentioned the author has one final crucial point. Getting good with money is only step one.
Yes, and this is so important. Mastering your habits, budgeting, saving that gives you security, gives you options. It's foundational. But if you only save, your money is actually losing purchasing power every single year because of inflation.
The silent wealth killer.
Right. So the next step, once you've built that solid foundation of control and savings, is to use that financial freedom and resilience to actually grow your wealth. That means investing. Saving protects you, investing grows your money.
That's the long game. Build the habits, then build the wealth. Makes sense.
It's the path to real financial freedom.
Okay, so a lot to think about there. As we wrap up, maybe a final thought for everyone listening, something practical from the book to try today.
Absolutely. Here's a challenge. The very next time you feel that itch, that impulse to spend money maybe online, maybe in a shop, just pause for a second. Ask yourself, which inner villain is talking right now? Is it Fran saying, deal with it later? Charlie wanting new gear? Wanda saying, what's the point?
Identify the saboteur?
Yeah. And then ask, what's the real feeling underneath? Am I bored, stressed, feeling inadequate? And then, crucially, can I meet that underlying need in a different way? A way that doesn't involve spending money. A walk, calling a friend, tackling a small task I've been avoiding.
A free activity instead of a purchase.
Exactly. Just interrupting that automatic script, that's where the power starts. That's where you begin to take control back.
Brilliant. A really practical way to start applying these ideas immediately.
That's the goal.
Well, thank you for walking us through that. A really powerful framework. And thank you all for joining us for another Bookish Dives if you found this deep dive into good with money helpful.
And hopefully less anxiety-inducing.
Hopefully. Then be sure to follow the show. We'll keep bringing you these explorations of critical nonfiction and research that can make a real difference.
We'll see you next time.
Catch you next time on Bookish Dives.